The Application of Theosophical Theories by William Quan Judge, read by Dave Marsland of Cardiff Theosophical Society. This article was written in 1886. The Application of Theosophical Theories. The mistake is being made by a great many persons, among them being Theosophists, of applying several of the doctrines current in theosophical literature to only one or two phases of a question, or to only one thing at a time, limiting rules which have universal application to a few cases, when in fact all those doctrines which have been current in the East for so long a time should be universally applied. For instance, take the law of karma. Some people say, yes, we believe in that, but they only apply it to human beings. They consider it only in its relation to their own acts, or to the acts of all men. Sometimes they fail to see that it has an effect not only on themselves and their fellows, but as well on the greatest of Mahatmas. Those great beings are not exempt from it. In fact, they are, so to say, more bound by it than we are. Although they are said to be above karma, this is only to be taken to mean that, having escaped from the wheel of samsara, which means the wheel of life and death or rebirths, and in that sense are above karma, at the same time we will find them often unable to act in a given case. Why, if they have transcended karma? How can it be possible that in any instance they may not break the law, or perform certain acts which to us seem proper at just that juncture? Why can they not, say in the case of a chela who has worked for them and for the cause for years with the most exalted unselfishness, interfere and save him from suddenly falling or being overwhelmed by horrible misfortune, or to interfere to help or direct a movement? It is because they have become part of the great law of karma itself. It would be impossible for them to lift a finger. Again, we know that at a certain period of progress, far above this sublunary world, the adept reaches a point where he may, if he so chooses, formulate a wish that he might be one of the devas, one of that bright host of beings of whose pleasure, glory and power we can have no idea. The mere formulation of the wish is enough. At that moment he becomes one of the devas. He then, for a period of time, which in its extent is incalculable, enjoys that condition. Then what? Then he has to begin low down again in the scale, in a mode and for a purpose which it would be useless to detail here, because it could not be understood, and also because I am not able to put it in any language with which I am conversant. In this, then, is not this particular adept who thus fell, subject to the law of karma. There is in the Hindu books a pretty story which illustrates this. A certain man heard that every day a most beautiful woman rose up out of the sea and combed her hair. He resolved that he would go to see her. He went, and she rose up as usual. He sprang into the sea behind her, and with her went down to her abode. One day she said she had to go away, and stated that he must not touch a picture which was on the wall, and then departed. In a few days, fired by curiosity, he went to look at the picture, saw that it was an enamelled one of the most ravishingly beautiful person, and he put out his hand to touch it. At that moment the foot of the figure suddenly enlarged, flew out from the frame, and sent him back to the scenes of earth, where he met only with sorrow and trouble. The law of karma must be applied to everything. Nothing is exempt from it. It rules the vital molecule from plant up to Brahma himself. Apply it then to the vegetable, animal and human kingdom alike. Another law is that of reincarnation. This is not to be confined only to the souls and bodies of men. Why not use it for every branch of nature to which it may be applicable? Not only are we men and women reincarnated, but also every molecule of which our bodies are composed. In what way, then, can we connect this rule with all of our thoughts? Does it apply here? It seems to me that it does, and with as much force as anywhere. Each thought is of definite length. It does not last for over what we may call an instant, but the time of its duration is in fact much shorter. It springs into life and then it dies, but it is at once reborn in the form of another thought, and thus the process goes on from moment to moment, from hour to hour, from day to day. Each thought is of a definite length. It does not last for over what we may call an instant, but the time of its duration is in fact much shorter. It springs into life and then it dies, but it is at once reborn in the form of another thought. And each one of these reincarnated thoughts lives its life, some good, some bad, some so terrible in their nature that if we could see them we would shrink back in affright. Further than that, a number of these thoughts form themselves into a certain idea, and it dies to be reincarnated in its time. Thus on rolls this vast flood. Will it overwhelm us? It may, it often does. Let us then make our thoughts pure. Our thoughts are the matrix, the mine, the fountain, the source of all that we are and of all that we may be.